The Regular Beer Project looks at Busch beer. Okay, so we're heading to the mountains of Busch. Not that Missouri is, or the St. Louis area of Missouri is known for mountains, but nonetheless, that's their thing. You know, it's always been the mountains, but it's Busch. Originally in 1955 it was Busch Bavarian beer, and Bavaria is a very mountainous part of Germany. Here's a can of Busch Light with their cold indicator, which came out in 2013. Great tasting and easy drinking light beer. Busch Light was introduced in 1979. Originally it was a draft, oh I'm sorry, 1989, excuse me. Originally it was a draft beer in '89, cold filtered. Then that was discontinued. Now it's just pasteurized beer. But anyway, when Busch beer came out in 1955, there's some interesting history with it. And I'm trying to, I haven't been able to quite get the timeline straight on it, but what do I know about it? Well, 1955 is an important year because this was the first year Busch was the first new beer issued by Anheuser-Busch after Prohibition, okay? But 1955 was also the year that Schlitz introduced Old Milwaukee. You can see that there's an Old Milwaukee can here, which was the budget beer for Schlitz Brewing Company. And it's still a budget beer under Pabst today. Pabst bought out Stroh's, who had previously bought out Schlitz. But I don't know which one came out first. Was it the Old Milwaukee and Busch came out to compete with it, or did Busch come out and Old Milwaukee was introduced to compete with that? Because those were two top brewers at the time, 50s to the 70s, Anheuser-Busch, and number 2 was Schlitz. I do know this. In 1955, after the Busch family bought the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team, the owner, August Busch, wanted to rename the stadium. It was Sportsman's Park in St. Louis. He wanted to name the stadium Budweiser Stadium. But there was a controversy about that, people frowning on him naming it after a beer. So, all of a sudden, he said, okay, fine, we'll name it Busch Memorial Stadium as a memorial to his ancestors who started the Busch Empire. But Busch Memorial Stadium, and then all of a sudden, there's Busch beer on the market. So, I'm wondering if he came out with Busch beer as an end around of getting the stadium name. He could name it after, theoretically, the founder of the Busch business, but yet really naming it after a beer. In 1979, Busch beer was expanded nationwide. It was a regional beer before then. In 1995, they came out with Busch Ice to capitalize on the ice beer craze. And then in 2014, they came out with Busch Signature Copper Lager to kind of go along with extra strength beers, and also with your copper beers, colored beers like Budweiser Black Crown, known as Budweiser Crown in Canada, Beck's Sapphire, and those types of things. Here's some older Busch bottles and cans. I kind of prefer the older look over the throwback can, tell you the truth, but they all look fine, I guess. You wouldn't be surprised to find out that Beer Advocate says it's an awful beer, and Rate Beer says it's not only awful, it's an NA out of 100. In other words, it's so bad it can't even rate a 0 out of 100. So they're saying this is basically the worst beer on the planet. Now, I did an examination with Maria Devon, and she said she thought it was okay. I mean, she didn't think it was wonderful or anything, but she said it was average. She didn't think it was like a 0 out of 100. I can go along with those type of evaluations of it. It has a I had some Clorox and I was fooling with bleach. Actually, not Clorox brand. Value Time brand budget bleach. And I was picking that smell up. It's got a typical beer aroma, you know, lager beer, that pungent, sweet smell, the grains, the barley malt, the corn. Nothing unusual, nothing outstanding, nothing remarkable. Same thing with the taste, sweet grains, just the slightest touch of their Saaz hops. Or is it a Strisselspalt? I can't remember. It's just a, you know, a straightforward touch of hops, or as Schlitz would have said, a kiss of the hops to balance out the sweetness. A light and watery mouthfeel, and that's the Budweiser drinkers. Their complaint against Busch is that it's too watery. It was marketed in the Midwest where it's really hot and very dry in the summer, and a watery beer like this, thin beer if you will, would appeal to them. It's pretty popular around here, especially the Busch Light I find at the grocery stores. But Busch is a big seller. It's one of the top 10 beers in the United States, Busch and Busch Light. Yeah, it's ordinary, I guess you could say. It's well made, it's consistent. You drink any Busch anywhere, it's going to taste the same. Making a nice little crackle. But there's nothing bad about it. There's no off flavors, no wanky flavors or foul aromas. So how can it get a 0 out of 100? I'm sorry, an NA out of 100? Or really, to be fair, I think the worst you could say about it is it's average, or you could say it's dull, or something run-of-the-mill, something like that. I was going to say something I forgot. But to me, it's a pleasant beer. It's nice enough. It's inexpensive. I noticed Walmart has 18 packs of 12-ounce bottles right now for $9.97, and can't go wrong with that. So, if you were eating macaroni and cheese with ham, or some barbecued pork ribs with some baked beans and a little side salad, this would be the perfect type beer for that. Or some steamed lobster or boiled crabs. It's made for that type of thing. It's not a contemplative beer, but it's okay. It's really okay. I knew what I wanted to say. It's 4.3% alcohol and it's 114 calories, whereas the Busch Light is 4.1% alcohol and 95 calories. So you might even do better with the Busch Light because you're getting just a slightly lower alcohol content, but you're getting a pretty significant calorie reduction. So if you look into, and the taste isn't really that different, so if you look into kind of watch your weight, not put on the calories, and you want a cheap ordinary beer, you might want to go with the Busch Light because like I said, the flavor is not that different, and but the calories are, and the alcohol is almost identical. So thank you for watching this examination of Busch beer on the regular beer project.